Welcome to the Whiskey with Winners podcast, the show with business titans sharing their stories of the highs and lows of entrepreneurship. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite glass of whiskey, and listen to the real and raw stories of these industry leaders. Now, here's your host, the man, the myth, the legend, the most interesting marketer, Jacob Fail.
What's up, everybody? It's Jacob Fail, the most interesting marketer. And today on the Whiskey with Winners podcast, I have a very special guest. We have Shaun Clark. He is the co-founder of Go Highlevel. He's also worked on several other projects like Invoice Sherpa and tons of different companies that he's founded before. He's got over 10,000 agencies that he's helped. Those agencies has helped over 200,000 businesses, and he has an amazing team of over 150 employees. Welcome, Shaun Clark, to the Whiskey with Winners podcast. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to just go ahead and dive in, Shaun, and just kind of find out more about you and like where you guys started, find out a little bit more about your background.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm a software engineer by trade. And, we started off trying to create a platform for small businesses and helping them market and expand. And along that journey, we discovered that marketing agencies are actually the true kind of behind the scenes people that make marketing actually work for small businesses. And so we joined up with actually our third co-founder who owned a marketing agency at the time and really completely stopped selling to small businesses long ago and really went right only to agencies because we realized that they're the best people to help small businesses market and grow. So that's really where we've taken the platform and where we continue to stay focused.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys have only been around for like what, 3 or 4 years now?
Yeah, I think 3 years now. Mm-hmm.
It's an insane growth with everything that you guys are doing. So what sparked that? I know that you guys wanted to help other marketing agencies and you saw that, there was a need. I mean, your guys' platform is pretty much an all-in-one, like it takes away like the need for 20 different softwares. So how did you guys kind of come up with that model versus like sticking to one thing, kind of like ClickFunnels, doing just funnels or doing just like Calendly, just calendar? How did you guys kind of piece all that together?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the difference between focusing on a vertical and not focusing on a vertical. So if you only do one thing, you have to go really wide. So, my last SaaS company, that's exactly what I did. So I understood that model really well. It's like you do one thing really well, but as soon as someone asks you for anything other than that one thing, you're like, sorry, can't help you. But,
right.
As a creator, as a software engineer, it's a really frustrating thing to say to somebody who you're trying to help, like, sorry, can't help you. So this time we wanted to do it differently. We wanted to say yes, and we want to just be able to say yes to that right person every time. And that's why we focused on agencies. And so I think it allowed us to go deeper, not wider. And so that's why we are here the way we are.
Nice. Now, as far as that goes, what do you love most about the business? Obviously, you're a software engineer by trade, and I know that you love helping marketing agencies, but what's your favorite part about this business?
I think it's all of the small businesses that we touch and that I think we are helping in some small part to grow and to expand and help thrive. And we can see this every day in our community when agencies say, oh, I just put this feature in place, or I did this thing for this client, and then, they got a huge new sale and that sort of thing. That's the reason that I get up every day. I really think that small businesses are the engine of the economy. I think they pay better than average. They're committed to their communities. We want to help and grow those people, but we know agencies are the right answer for that. And we know that software is just a tool. So if you don't have an expert to help wield a tool, you're not going to be able to help anybody. And agencies are those experts. And so but I would say definitely helping small businesses is the thing that I'm most excited about.
Yeah, 100%. Now take us back to Shaun Clark as a young man. Where have you always been an entrepreneur by trade? And, did you start out selling lemonade on the side of the road?
I would say I've always been an entrepreneur. I can't remember if I ever did the lemonade thing. But I definitely, I can remember having a computer consulting business in high school and really trying to go out making websites for people and stuff. And then just always wanting to be a business owner. mostly from a freedom perspective and just a choice perspective. So yeah, I've always at some point been in some type of business my whole life.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what do you think has been the biggest spike for you guys? Because I mean, you're a fairly new business within, the past 3 years. What do you think has helped you guys grow so quickly?
Our community, hands down. I mean,
Yeah.
we show up every day to serve a community, and we really take pride in the fact that we are here for just that one group. We listen to our customers. We develop the app around what our customers ask us to do. I mean, we're very focused on customer feedback, and it's not just a gimmick to us. It allows us to really fulfill our mission. But on the other side, if we didn't have that community, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't grow like we're growing. So it's definitely the community for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Now, with that being said, obviously you have a great community, but that there's probably been some setbacks. So what's been kind of like the biggest setbacks that you guys have had? And, what challenges have you guys had to overcome?
Yeah, sure. I think the biggest thing is just as you scale up, the thing that used to work for really well every day stops working completely, and in many cases backfires on you. And so for us, we've figured out that we now have a platform that works for every agency. So if you're an agency, there's no way you shouldn't be on our platform. There's enough value for you in one way or another. But when people walk through the door, it's about how do we get them across with, sort of, we call it the sort of like that chasm of doom, sort of that first, month or two where they're trying to figure everything out. And so for us, it's about overcoming that challenge. I would say that's the biggest challenge we've got right now. I know we can help everybody. It's just about how do we get to everybody? How do we create a system that helps everybody and sort of brings them to that place of value so they can understand sort of all the other promise that's there.
Yeah. And I see that too, like in my own business is whenever you bring people into a new software, they see all the bells and whistles and they get overwhelmed with things. And they're like, what do I do with all of this? Right. And so there's so much value there, but if you're not able to simplify things for them and be able to bring them in a streamlined fashion. And I know that that's been a big hurdle that we've had is there's too many bells and whistles that you just got to bring them in and like simplify things. So what tips would you have on simplifying things for people and just trying to?
Oh gosh, that's tough. I think we're still trying to learn that ourselves. I think it's about trying to synthesize like how to prove value to that person in one way as fast as possible. And even though you may get excited about 10 other things, realize like none of that matters if you can't get them to that value. So just focus in that one lane, get them to that value point, and then kind of open it up to everybody else.
Well, and that's one of the things that I love about you too, right? Is you come from a software engineer standpoint, but then you also play the devil's advocate and you're just sitting there like, okay, as a consumer, what would I like this product to be, right? Because I know I've seen you in several videos where you're like, I know I'm a software developer and I don't know why you guys want this, but this is why we're doing it because you guys want it. And
exactly.
And I really think that is, I really think that that's very helpful, especially, in all agency models, whether that's, from a software perspective, the SaaS perspective, or just from a regular agency, because most people, I call it the WIFM radio, what's in it for me radio.
Oh, okay.
Everybody wants what's in it for me, right? They want to see the end result. Yes. They want to see the end product. And they want to tune into that radio station and that's all they want to hear. Right. So I think the biggest thing for people is simplifying that. And that's one of the things that I've been restructuring and just thinking about how can I make this better? How can I provide this product and this service for clients to make it the best? What's in it for them? Because that's really all that they care about at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
They want to know the result. So what's some common like myths or controversies around SaaS and software in general that you've seen in the business and agencies as well?
Well, software, I think the most common thing I hear is that like you just build it once and just sort of like put it up and walk away and you don't have to like, there's no customer service and, it just sort of runs itself and sort of the magic, button or whatever. But sadly, it's not the case. But so there's a lot more that goes into, I think customer success is like the biggest myth of software is, people don't quite realize how much of that there is, because at the end of the day, software is just a tool. And if you don't know how to use a tool, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Well, and two, you guys are probably going to have some of the highest retention. I know you guys have kept me on for a while, and it's just because of the customer service. One, like the retention, like you're always, well, always open to hopping on calls with people or scheduling a call, and same thing with your team. And I really think that that's going to be a big part of your guys' success, which you guys are already doing a great job. Now, as far as like the agency model, I know that you've interviewed probably tens of thousands of agencies, and just what have you seen that has worked best for agencies, and what's kind of like the myths around those agencies and like how they should be better?
I mean, I think that the common things I hear are things like, well, just pick one service and just niche down in one area and it'll all work out. And I think the problem with that is it's super exciting to hear that, because as a person, you can sort of conceptualize how that's like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, I get that. I could probably do that, right? And so it gets you excited at that idea. But then I think if you look at it from the other person's perspective, so the customer's perspective, they need more than one thing to market their business, and they don't want to hire 10 people to do that. And so I think the misconception there is that somehow you could put the work back on the business owner to figure all that out. And I think that's just inaccurate. So for personally, the agencies that I think do the best are the ones that are the most diverse in what they do. And, they're going in and saying, okay, what does this customer need? And even if I don't provide it, I'm going to figure out how to provide it, because that's what makes me valuable. I'm solving the holistic problem they have, which is I need someone to help me market my business. And you might not do SEO, but that doesn't mean they don't need it. You may not know how to, I'm like, I couldn't create a landing page to save my life that looked it looked good, but that doesn't mean that that's not something that I should find a way to get that client if that's what they need, right? So I think the people who take the more holistic views on serving their customers are the ones that ultimately do the best.
Yeah. And I think the best agencies out there, at least from the ones that I've talked to, they kind of act more as a general contractor, right?
Yes.
They kind of like, they sub out like SEO, they sub out websites, and they just kind of make top, profit margin off of that. And I think that, a lot of agencies can kind of piggyback off of that and just learn, whether they want to stay in their lane, like if they're just good at lead gen and that's all they want to do, and just like, sub out this other stuff. Like, I don't know how to do graphic design, but I get graphic design clients all the time and just sub it out.
Totally.
And
I don't really think, and I think the general contractor analogy is an astute one, because if you think about it in that scenario, it's not like you don't see the plumber walk into your house to do the plumbing job.
Right.
And yet you don't look at the general contractor and say, hey man, what's up? You're really scamming me out, right? No one ever says it like, well, of course. Yeah, I get it. You're a general contractor. You're going to try to get a plumber, because I don't want you to try to do some half job on my plumbing. I want a real person who knows what they're doing. And I think there's no shame in that. In fact, it's seen, I think, as a positive. And I think marketing agencies should do the same thing.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. Like, my brother's a general contractor and he does absolutely none of the work, but he makes all the money. Right. And so the thing is he finds the best people at that job. And he says, okay, you're now my lead gen guy. You're now my website guy, speaking in marketing terms, you're now this, you're now that, right?
Totally.
And you just sell the product, and then they do all the work and do the fulfillment.
Well, and you're solving the problem is what you're doing,
right?
And that other person, it's simple. They have a problem that needs to be solved. You can give them a price to solve it. And as long as they're willing to pay that price, I honestly don't even think if you like peeled back the onion and try to explain that you had outsourced all this work, I don't think they would care. I think they'd be like, great, sounds good. Sounds like you're an efficient person. All right, moving on. I got to get back to being a small business owner doing what I was doing 5 minutes ago. I thank you for solving my problem, right? I think that's more the attitude.
Yeah. And the biggest thing too is, like, the general contractors, they're going to say, hey, I'm going to get the best plumber for this job.
Totally.
If this plumber's not working, I'm going to fire him and get rid of him and get a better plumber.
Totally.
And I think that that's one of the biggest things that a lot of agencies miss. They try and do it all. Whenever I first started out, I was trying to do everything. I was, doing this, doing that, prospecting, right? Doing everything. And then started hiring on people and outsourcing the work that I didn't want to do. And it's just crazy to think, like, the margins on things whenever you do outsource it, and there's none of the headache other than, some client communication. So definitely something that I think all agency owners could take away from that. Now, as far as like starting an agency, right? So there's a lot of people that are just getting started. Maybe they haven't been in the world for a little while. What do you think the biggest thing for them failing, not getting to the level they want to get at, or giving up? Like, what advice would you have for people that, or maybe they're doing the SaaS product as well?
Yeah, right. I mean, I think that first you just need to look at the world. So if you go out to Google Trends and you search digital marketing agency, you'll find that it's never been searched for more than it is right now. So it's an awesome time to be a digital agency or start a digital agency, because there's a lot of people out there looking for digital agencies. People who search digital marketing agency are not people trying to start one. They're trying to find one. And those people are small business owners. And through COVID, they've just learned like it's hyper accelerated the adoption to digital technology. And they all recognize that they need someone to help them. So the good news is there's a lot of customers out there. And I think that it's a massive market. I think you can go at it from 10 different ways, whether that's, hyper local, like you're just walking around, you're going to BNI meetings or whatever, and just kind of getting clients locally. I think that's a very viable path. I think you can do it through Facebook ads. I think you can do it through webinars. I think you can do it through, associations. I think you can do it through cold email, even lots and lots and lots of different ways. So there's a lot of ways to start an agency. And, like we just discussed, we also live in a world where you can outsource a lot of the work to a lot of different people. So don't worry if tomorrow someone says, can you do a beautiful new website? There's a lot of resources out there where you can get a beautiful website done and know nothing about it. And again, you're not an imposter, you're solving the problem that person has. And then I also think the big trend for me is, as we move forward, agencies are going to stop just being siloed in the services area. I think they're going to make it, they're going to move over to the technology area and be the type of person, again, holistic solution, right? I'm a small business owner. I need service and I need software. Can you help me on the marketing side? Yes, we can help you. We can give you both. And again, same concept. Software side, you might outsource that to somebody like Highlevels. You're going to white label the platform and bring it in. And then there could even be other technologies. Let's say they say, we need a phone system. I don't know. It sounds crazy, right? But let's just say you went out and found a phone system online for that small business owner. You're just creating more value for them. And they're looking at you saying, wow, now that guy is really worth paying for, because anytime we need anything in the area of what is that scope of marketing, that they're there to serve. So I think that's really where people should focus and try to create the most value and grow their agencies.
Yeah, 100%. And talking about that of not creating it or not doing it. And I think this is a really good analogy for like everyone doing SaaS is Bill Gates didn't really invent Microsoft, right? And it's a multi-billion-dollar company. He bought the software from this other guy. And because I know that because he's from Albuquerque here, or this is where he created it. It's actually down the street. There's the gas station where he
that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But he bought that and then he just started selling it, and he sold it to big companies, sold it to like IBM. And same thing with like you mentioned Thrive the other day, and just like looking at those different things.
Beautiful example. Yes.
Yeah. And so. And I really think, because that's a big topic in the community, right? Is a lot of people are like, well, it's a race to the bottom. People are changing prices, blah, blah, blah. But you're serving different people, and you serve them in a different way. Whether you tack it on, you give it away for free, you tack it onto your services. There's a million different ways to do it. It's just, are you going to be successful with what you're selling and how you're selling it? It's just, you got to be innovative.
And I also think that people need to get out of their heads about it. I mean, Thrive just came out with their latest quarterly numbers. Their average revenue went up from like 280 to 304. So, I mean, they don't have any problem selling it to 44,000 small businesses for $300 a month. So if the Yellow Page guys can do it, why can't you? And the other thing is thinking about anybody who does sell it low. Oh my gosh. I hope all of them get 1,000 customers overnight, because when they see how much email they're going to get and how many chats and how do I do this? And this doesn't work. And I click here and blah, 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 they're going to blow up and they're going to quit. And the only people left standing are going to be people like you who can actually afford to say, oh yeah, no problem. Let's get on a call. Let me help you out. But for $27 lifetime deal, you're not getting on a call. So that customer is going to be like, you know what? I got suckered by the low price deal, but now I'm getting no support. So I quit. Thanks for your $27 or whatever. I'm going to charge that back on my credit card now. And I'm going to go buy the $300 deal because now I understand it. it's not just the features, quote unquote. It's not just like buying a hammer at the hardware store. It's also having somebody to teach me how to use it to actually build a house.
Yep, exactly. It's you're basically paying for the carpenter versus paying for the hammer, right?
Totally.
And that's,
Yeah.
and that's definitely a good analogy. Now, talking about SaaS, what are some of the roadblocks? Like, I know customer support's one of them, but like with scaling, because you scaled several SaaS companies,
Yeah.
what are some things that we should look out for when doing that?
I mean, we've tried to do this differently because normally I would talk about things like, scaling infrastructure, scaling development teams and all that stuff. But the good news is when you white label, you get rid of all those issues, right? So those just aren't a problem for you. I think all you have to really focus on is sales and customer support. Although in our case, like we have the done for you setup service that we're offering, so you don't even have to set it up anymore. And then probably in the next 3 months, we'll come out with like a done for you support option as well. So really, I think as an agency, focus mostly on the sales. Like, how am I reaching the most number of people? How am I refining my pitch? How am I making sure that my close rates are as high as they can be? If you do that, it's incredibly scalable.
Yeah. Now, talking about that though, how is and this is a big thing, especially in lead gen, how do you not become a commodity, right? Like if everybody's selling the same thing, right? Same platform, and, same thing with like lead gen and real estate, it's everybody's selling leads, everybody's selling booked appointments, everybody's selling live transfers now.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not become a commodity in a red ocean?
Super, super good question. So I think that the whole idea here is land and expand. So you put your foot in the door, and it doesn't matter how you put your foot in the door. In fact, even if you put your foot in the door with a commodity, that ultimately is fine, because what you have to offer is the uniqueness of your services. And this is where the service software combo is so powerful. The software could be a commodity for all I care. Ultimately, that's great. You just need to get your foot through the door. Now you can come in and offer all that expertise that's unique to you that other people can't provide. So that's how you're going to stand out. You're already unique, right? Your methodologies, your knowledge, your experience, your efforts, these things are all unique to you. So it doesn't matter if the software is a commodity or not. Although in this case, I would argue you can layer in all kinds of assets that are your own landing pages, sequences, workflows. So can we make the software not a commodity? Absolutely. But I wouldn't get hung up on it. If at the end of the day, you get $300 a month, which is what we're consistently seeing for that software, it doesn't even matter. And in fact, if you just think about it, there's lots of things businesses buy every day that are quote unquote commodities. Doesn't mean they don't pay good money for those commodities. They still need them, right? And so at the end of the day, if you're the person selling it to them, that's fantastic. Now you have a customer, you have a durable source of recurring revenue. By the way, think about that recurring revenue. Oftentimes agencies are always pitched as like, start an agency, get recurring revenue. But it's like, I hate to break it to you folks, recurring revenue for most new agencies is 3 months and then boom, you're fired. That's not the definition of true recurring revenue. We're talking about years of recurring revenue, not months of recurring revenue. And then you can keep adding on top of that. And that, I think, is really how you do it. It's a value ladder approach. You're stacking value and you're creating a lot of stickiness that makes it very hard for you to go anywhere.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree that the SaaS model is definitely the way to go because it's a lower entry, lower barrier to entry. Yeah, people do view some things as commodities. Like people say, well, like especially in the real estate space, well, I'm using KV Core. I don't really need another CRM. Well, it's not just a CRM. It does all the text messages. It does the emails, does the follow-up, does, every single
gets you leads. KV Core just is like, oh, you want to go type some notes? Woo, you do that. How about we just get you free leads off your website every day? How about we have people messaging you off Google and saying, hey, or can you help me sell my house or buy my house? Like, you want some, how about we get you new customers? Like it's always sell the whole, not the drill, right? It's like, do you want free leads every day without any ad spend? Do you want 5-star Google reviews? Do you want a higher ranking on Google? Because that's what we do. We're not like, you can keep KV Core and you can go and type notes to your heart's content and add new contacts in, but we'll just get you new business. How's that sound? Right? Like that, I think, is what we're focused on, not some silly CRM replacement.
Right. Exactly. And I love what you guys do and how that you guys are always adapting to the market. I mean, obviously you guys put out the MVP, you put out the minimum viable product, but it's functional enough that everyone can use it. But then you guys improve on it. Right.
That's right.
And so that's definitely appreciated by us, as consumers.
Well, and we do it for a really good reason, right? So like most software companies are like, hey, here's the thing we think you need to use in the way we think you need to use it. We take a different approach. We're like, hey, listen, we heard this. You told us this was important. Here's kind of like version 1. Now that it's out, tell us what we missed, or more importantly, just tell us what's most important to add next. Right. So we can go in the direction you want us to go, not you're going my direction because I say so, right? That's the difference here.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be the best approach, for you guys in general, because a lot of these bigger companies like Salesforce and some of the, the multi-billion-dollar companies, is they're not really focused too much on the smaller users, right?
Oh,
and they just build whatever.
And certainly not agencies. Every company that sells to your customer, whoever they may be, you are at best a sales channel. I hate to break it to you. And that's really simple. If you ever want to understand whether you're important or not, just ask yourself the question, if I link up with this person and I fail, like I lose the customer, what happens to that partner? Do they lose? And if the answer is no, because they still have that customer, you're just a sales channel. You are a number. You are not important. You're not worth anything. You're just somebody to get customers from. And that is what you really need to make sure you're not, because that doesn't really help you, right? That doesn't really help you scale. And ultimately, if you've been an agency for more than 5 minutes, you'll see, oh, I resold, so-and-so's solution. Oh, and then they canceled my services, but they kept that other person. Uh-oh, right. That sucks, right? You got to find people who stand behind you.
Yeah. Well, and you guys are always looking for ways to improve and put more money back in our pockets, right? Like rebilling and all this other stuff that you're doing. And no other software solution has ever done that before, right? At least not at the scale that you guys are moving.
Yeah. I mean, our mission, and we get up every day and say, all right, listen, how can we make marketing agencies more money today? Right. That's like, it could be a feature. It could be billing, right? It could be lots of things. So, but how do we do that? And I think that's what makes us unique.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that everybody definitely appreciates that. And it's definitely helped out a lot of agencies for sure.
Well, so I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
We're going to keep doing it.
Yeah. So shifting gears a little bit, I know we got a little bit more time. What do you see your business and other businesses in the agency space shifting over the next 3 to 5 years? And especially high level as well. Like what's your 3 to 5?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that we're on a mission to really get out and help every small business and medium business that's out there through agencies, right? So for us, it's how can we weaponize agencies in a way that they're just unstoppable? And for me, that's, making sure that on the technology side, you have every tool that in your toolkit that small business needs, so that when you walk in the front door, no matter who you might, if you think about it, whether you know it or not, you're in competition with somebody already inside that small business. Could be another provider who's trying to say, oh, we do the same service. Could be a software product that they've adopted in-house, right? And so ultimately our goal is to make it so that no matter what, you can say, yes, we've got that. And what's best about us is we've got all of that in one place. You don't need to go and piece it together as a small business owner. And if you spent any time talking to small business owners, that's music to their ears, because the last thing they need is more work, more vendors, more touch points, more things that distract them from their core mission and their core focus. And I think they'll reward you with the business almost always on the simplicity of the fact that you're a one-stop shop.
Now, speaking on being a one-stop shop, what do you say to people? Maybe they already have something that's in-house that they learned, and maybe they don't want to learn a new product or new service or whatever. What would your tip be on that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think most businesses are going to have an in-house, what I would call operational CRM. Your goal is not to replace an operational CRM. Operational CRMs often go very deep in their category. Think about like the dentist, right? You walk in and they've got that thing. They've got a thing on the screen that has like shows where you have cavities. That's a CRM. I hate to break it to you. It's just a CRM, but it's very specific to your, to mouths and teeth and dentistry, right? Your goal is not to supplant that at all. Your goal is to sit in front of that and say, oh, yeah, that's cool. You guys keep doing what you're doing, but we're just going to feed in new business every day. We're going to be the people who bring people off the street and give you the opportunity to do what it is that you do. So it's always the sales and marketing piece that you're focused on. You're not trying to change their in-house CRM or their in-house operations piece. that I think is the most important thing. And your system hands off to their system. So as soon as you get that new customer, it's very easy to just hand it off to the teeth checking system. And, and so there's no competition there per se.
Yeah. And that's great advice. Chase, I believe it's Chase or Paulson the other day said something very similar. And it was talking about like HVAC companies, they have Service Titan and all this stuff. Well,
totally.
Going into, like the HVAC, that is specifically for whenever you get on site, they're going to swipe their credit card. They're going to do all this other stuff. But what are you doing leading up to that, right? Same thing for real estate agents. Like, yeah, you have KV Core, you have all these other things, but what are you doing before you get those leads? Like what is that front end system? And I really think that that's what High-Level provides for agencies, is that all-in-one solution, and for our own businesses, right? As agencies.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can totally run your agency off of it.
And I think that that's the biggest thing too, is a lot of agency owners, mainly they're just focusing on their clients, but why aren't you using it for your own business? Like me, I have testimonial sequences that go out. I have, the scheduling through there now. Like there's just a ton of different layers that you can implement for your business, right?
Yeah.
So as far as your like High-Level, what is your next, 10, 20, 30 year plan? Like, what do you guys see? Are you going to do an IPO? Are you going to sell? Like, what's the end game?
I mean, I think for us, right now we don't really have an end game. So, we're focused on what we're doing. We believe in the mission that we're on. We know that we're helping agencies. For me, the most frustrating thing is just trying to get the message out to more agencies. Like, hey, we're over here. We can help you. It's always, when someone will say, oh, well, I don't like how much I'm paying or something. I'm always like, you shouldn't be paying us $1. We should actually be making you money. And if we're not, like, we need to get on a call. Like, you're not implementing this correctly. Right. And so for me, it's really just trying to get the message out to more agencies and be like, hey, we're over here. We're in your corner. We know we have a way to help you scale up and make a lot more money and cut down on your churn, and I know that there's no one else in the market that cares about you like we do. There's no one else out there serving you like we're serving you. And I think, ultimately for us, it's like just continuing to get out there more, continuing to find more people.
Yeah. So the biggest thing you're focused on is growth and making this thing the best thing that, is possible.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And adding, there's a couple of features that big features that we still are adding, the next couple of quarters, things like social media posting and blogging is coming. And then probably eventually a phone system will be in there, really trying to eliminate, it could be even contracts and stuff, eventually just trying to eliminate any kind of corner case, just so that what we find is that, we can have a lot of value inside the circus tent, as it were. But on the outside, if there's not a sign that has every item that agency owner, it has already sort of in their head predetermined, they won't bother to come in and see all the amazing things. So even if even if they could make 100 times what they're currently making, if they're currently like doing social media posting and it's not on the sign outside, they're not going to take a risk and they're not going to come in. And so for us, it's about really trying to meet people where they stand and just add in those couple last items that we don't have. But we have a great dev team. I'm not really concerned about it. I think, the next quarter will probably knock out most of those things.
Yeah. Well, that's great to hear, because I know a lot of people, they're always asking for more features. And
yeah.
The biggest thing for you, like, I think, is going deeper instead of adding more, shiny objects. I mean, there are a couple of things that we would like to see, like, the inbound calling, and then also like the contracts and stuff like
there. Yeah. See, right.
Right. But other than that, going deeper on the current features that are there, which, are very stable, now, but, going deeper on those, how can you make those better? How can we improve that?
Yeah. And that is the idea. So today we have, and then the other thing also is thinking about, for the agencies who finally cross the chasm, it's, hey, wait a second, what are all the features the small business needs that I can sell to them that creates more value for me? Wow, that's amazing, right? So those are the other things that we think about is, what we're going to be launching payments next week, for example. And those payments are all about helping the small business owner start transacting with their customer. Well, now that's through your platform. Well, money is very sticky. So if all of a sudden you get your small business owner to start transacting through the platform, wow, that's pretty amazing, right? And then from there, we go to invoicing and estimates and all of those things. And for the right verticals, those are some killer features that those people need. And the agency might look at that and say, well, I don't, I could use it, or maybe I don't need to use it or whatever. But guess what? Who cares? Not about you. It's about helping you get more money. And so by creating the value for your clients, maybe you never use that invoicing feature, but if they do, where are they going to go? They're stuck, right? And now you're making $300 a month off just the software alone, right? Infinitely. And so that is where I think it's really important that we continue to focus as well. And so it's just that balance between those agency features that sort of do create this shiny object, because I hate to break it to people, but you gotta flash it in front. Woo, look over here. You get all these things you ever thought of. And then once you get them in the tent, it's like, guess what? Surprise. Here's this other thing you'd never even thought of.
Yep, definitely. And I do think that, with you bringing in the text to pay and all the different things, being able to show them how much money, especially with the attribution tracking and stuff, and showing, we got you this many leads. This is how much money you made all the way from start to finish. We're 100% responsible for that.
Yep.
I think that that's definitely going to be a value add for all agencies and, for small businesses.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. I think so too. And this really speaks to the greater role that agencies, I think, will play in the future as not just the sort of ad hoc service providers. They are going to be true solutions providers. And I think that it's going to be that combination of services and technology, and we're going to be the hub for the agency to provide it.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up now. I got a couple more questions for you. This one is one that I love to ask. If today was your last day, what would you want to be known for? And what would be your last piece of advice that you could give to someone?
Oh, I would say, take more risk. Don't fear failure. It's a much better world to fail and to try again than it is to never have tried at all. And I don't know. I think I would be way more concerned about what my 8-year-old son thought about me than anybody else. I could really give two hoots about what anybody else thought about me. As long as my son thinks I'm a good dad, that's really all that matters to me.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. Well, Shaun, it's been a pleasure having you on here. How can people get in touch with you?
GoHighlevel.com. Also, if you want to know more about the app and then go really crazy in depth, definitely check out the YouTube channel, Highlevels, all one word. We have an awesome Facebook group, but you can't get into it until you buy the product. So go out and buy the product.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll leave a link down below in case if anybody wants to sign up, go ahead and grab that link, and you'll get some freebies like a snapshot and a high level course with it as well. So thank you for being on here, Shaun. It's been a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Whiskey with Winners podcast, your home for real and raw stories of industry titans. Make sure to click the button below to subscribe. Follow our journey on Instagram at Most Interesting Marketer and Anchor, Stitcher, YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. Remember to always stay humble, stay hungry, and stay focused.
Everything that I'm saying is out of context. Wait, it's not even really a contest. See, if you already know, then I'm next. Looking at a bodybuilder like Y-Flex. I'm dope in the pot like it's Pyrex. And I do it big just like a T-Rex. A T-Rex, I'm the best to ever do it. Could be so dope when he flow to the fucking music. Like, this shit is nasty for real. Yeah, I'm dope. You don't even have to ask me for real, man. Damn, I think I'm going wrong. I'm going hard. Woo. Who could come up with the bars? I'm a shooting star. I shine bright in the fucking night, and they can't tell me that I'm doing wrong. I do it right, like I'm at the top. So who could really top that? Yeah, and tune in to the podcast.